everybody. Today I'd like to walk you through what it takes to make some of these adorable and wonderful scented little holiday sachets. So for today's demonstration, we're working with Balsam Fir that I've bought from a commercial manufacturer out of Maine on my last visit there. And as well as I've mixed it in with my homegrown dried rosemary. No pesticides are used, just dirt, water, and a little love. And they're dried without use of chemicals as well. Just air and thyme. The best ingredients, I think. So as we get to working on this, I have already sewn up 3 of the 4 sides of my muslin sachet bag. This side didn't need to be seamed, it's just folded. So we're just going to fill these up real quick and get on to the next parts. Alright, let's take it on over to the sewing machine. So for the first piece of sewing we're going to do, I use a zigzag stitch on 4 millimeters wide by 1.6 millimeters for stitch length. Just line it up to the edge so it'll catch. Always backstitch at the front and end of your projects, especially when we're talking about microscopic small pieces of herb. We don't want those running out when it comes time to sew the other piece. So when all is done, you have a fully contained herb bag. It smells so good in here, guys. All right, now that we have our pine and rosemary all sewn up into this nice little muslin bag, we're going to go ahead and pin together the outer covering. So I have 2 of my fabric pieces cut to the same size. We're going to turn those right side together. And then you'll take your fabric piece. I burn the ends of mine so they don't ever fray. And then if you're working with a print that has a back side and a front side, you're going to want to turn this so that if you have printed ribbon, that it is laying like this underneath your project. So where the printed side is touching the right side of the fabric. For my particular example, it doesn't matter, but something to call out. And you're going to want to find the center of your project. So I've learned how to eyeball these. Usually works out for me. But I double check it. All right. So I've just used my Wonder Clips and clipped the 2 edges with the piece of ribbon, and I don't use too many on the sides. But I'll put an extra one here, an extra one here, and I'll leave the bottom open. All right, back to the sewing machine. All right, so for this piece, I'm just going to use a straight stitch. I just use the pre-programmed settings for length and width. I'm starting at the top left corner. I move it to, I line mine up with the inside of this little plastic groove on my J-foot. I have a Brother Simplicity machine. stitch. I like to back stitch over the ribbon as well. Now before you get to the very edge of the corner, make sure you pause, and we're going to pivot here. And again, we're only going to sew up a few of these sides. I like to back stitch in the corners as well, just for a little, to kind of ensure things are a little sharper and and since this is our bottom, I do go a little bit in, back stitch, and then cut. I'll repeat this again for the very edge, since we are going to be stuffing this with our muslin bag. Stitch. On this side you can sew back stitching in the corner if you'd like. And I pivot one more time and kind of just bring my thread back to where I started from. If you'd like, just kind of clip any threads that are loose. And if you're careful, you can clip the very corners, but I haven't found that it actually has made that significant of a difference on the end product. In others, where there's a bigger seam allowance, yeah, but on this one, not so much. All right, time to stuff the bag back in. All right, so now we have our sewn bag that is still wrong side out, and we have the top of our piece here where the ribbon will be. Since it is a square, doesn't particularly matter, but just go ahead and start folding the, since we left a little hole at the bottom, I just kind of fold the bag over the muslin bag and start going right side out. You will also need a chopstick or something that's non-blunt for this next piece if you'd like to get your sharp corners. So I just pop out the corners. And when you get to the bottom, if any of your stitches on the corners have slipped a little bit, it's not at the end of the world. Mine popped a little bit on this corner, but that's fine. We're gonna sew this anyways. So, to give yourself some extra room, you don't necessarily need to sew the muslin bag. Just kind of tuck away the excess, and you're just going to create a nice folded over seam, because we're going to top stitch this here in just a minute. And grab a few other clips if it's easier for you to. I find giving it a little bit of tension helps get it into place. Okay, so now we're going to go back to the sewing machine, and we're going to do a small top stitch along the very edges of all 4 sides. You'll need to pull and tug the bag out of the way as you turn, but I'll show you over there. All right, so we're going to use the same small mark on the footer and sew this up. Again, straight stitch, whatever settings it comes programmed with is just fine. When you get to the corner, you want to pivot and scooch the muslin bag over so you have room to turn and to do your top stitch. Same thing when you get to this corner. And final side. And again, I turn back to the original side and I take the thread back over before I trim up your excess strings. And here you have it. One adorable little balsam fir and rosemary scented sachet. Makes a great stocking stuffer, or just keep it for yourself and think about the wonderful holidays you've had and enjoy the scent. You can also stick it in your purse for a nice little burst of seasonal freshness, or shoes. Makes great natural deodorizer for your sneakers or loafers, and your gym bag too. Anywhere that could use a little bit of freshening up, these things are great for. And when the time comes and you need to refresh them, just crush them, get the essential oils going again, and you'll have some additional freshness to last you through and through. Well, thanks for joining me today on the Crafts Together channel. Happy crafting!